Why? Because he's in between falsetto and full voice?
Yeah, I don't think we have that yet. The second
Let's
half.
punch him in the second half. Because he's running out of breath. That's it. Good. So let's punch in for that second half, Greg.
Yeah.
Oh, and give it.
I loved the personalized attention that they gave everyone, but the studio was still able to produce that huge, $1 million sound.
You know, when we finished the CD, we were like a brand new band, like we learned a lot. He showed you a lot, he showed you what you need to do.
The Lakehouse family includes all the artists we record.
Ridiculous, they know everything, know how to do everything, even as players and engineers.
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is, whether we're talking about John or we're talking about the studio, is the creative aspect.
Like the stuff that really is cool anyway, so when it's in there, it just feels,
Yeah.
special, and then we don't have to layer. We won't have to layer. We'll leave the great, everything's real. This, that big snare will stay big if we do that. The guitars should be relatively clean, and if we're going to do a fuzzy guitar, make it crazy fuzzy and just put it in the right place.
Yeah.
And like for some of that, my thought is maybe get a little bit better rough vocal, or even go for when you feel like you have enough to sing to, get you in the booth and get a really good vocal. And I'm not talking about harmonies, I'm talking about like background parts. Like all the weird parts that we were talking about. And because when that's on there, we're going to see where the space is.
Okay.
In my instance, I'm always asking them what I should do, what sounds right, what I should redo, and they've cut so many different songs. I absolutely trust their opinion.
I'm watching how John and Rob deal with clients, how they work with clients, how they work with inspired artists, how they try to inspire artists. I'm taking a lot away from it.
Anyone who has worked in this studio for any length of time, when they first come into the studio, one person enters. When they leave the studio, a different person exits.
To me, yeah, it's all turned around, it's upside down. Don't believe me, it's not how it seems, yeah.
We'll come to the studio. We just I'll just be here for an hour sometimes, just on an off day. Just go upstairs with John, my producer, and we'll just sit down and just write. Even if it's bad, if it's good, we'll just sit there and we'll just write, and I'll bring the music and I bring what I have and he brings what he has, and we just I just write a lot.
See that John and the crew put everyone at ease. I know a lot of artists hate recording. They hate it because you have to meticulously take apart your songs.
So we kind of almost build it from the ground up. Look at the song first, then start putting the necessary instruments on.
The process begins before we start recording. You just get with an artist and try to understand what it is that they want to accomplish, what they're inspired by, and you find out generally artists don't know the answers to all those questions, so it's kind of a process where you start to look into the artist and see why they play music. And Greg, now one more time, I want you to think about this stuff. This is the payoff. This is what the whole thing's about. What you wrote, the reason you wrote the song. You know what I mean? So, blow your voice out right now.
I mean, and if it does happen, where you have to do something over and over, you don't get the sense of pretension or hurriedness. It's very relaxed, and they're always willing to work hard.
It's like home, you don't feel any pressure. He lets you know what he thinks about things, you know, in a really good way, and he lets you, you know, think about it, and you know, come up with something else different if it's not right what it is, you know. And he really is a very good producer, man. I'm proud to be working with him.
We've had a lot of diversity. I started off initially, you know, recording myself. It was really about me and the music that I was writing and making. And then I started to work with the people, you know, and as I was writing for other people, I started to help them produce the songs, and it just naturally evolved into doing a lot more producing than my own music. Now I am very involved in some artists with their songwriting, and other artists that come in and just act as a producer.
We're realizing now that there's a real need. A lot of people are creating music, and one of the things that we are seeing with our artists is that there's a need to get their music out there.
Rob's taught me a lot. I mean, I just sit down there, he's like mixing, explain stuff to me, asking questions. First thing I learned was the proper way to wrap a mic cable. I thought that was really funny. But yeah, just learned a lot from Rob.
We need to promote local artists. We see big things for a bunch of the artists that come in here. We're doing online stuff, we're getting gigs, we're doing things that the artists necessarily couldn't do themselves.
Well, the studio itself, we record to, we have a Pro Tools HD3 rig, but we have a lot of outboard gear. We have an SSL Matrix console. We have an old 70s Neve 5442 small sidecar console. From some very vintage stuff to some very current, you know, new technology. We want to move into another building. We're looking into another building right now that has multiple studios. We're also developing other parts of our business. We're helping certain artists, helping develop them, and you know, we're hiring more people to be able to do that. We're also at the beginning of licensing music, and we have a large catalog of music, and some of it's amazing music. So we're at the beginning of setting up outlets for that music.